Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where we discuss all things narcissism, and this video is to explore more about our instincts, when we just have a feeling about something, when we have that hunch. And our instincts are when we have a natural ability to stop us from doing something or help us to do something, to behave and act in a manner without any rhyme or reason behind it. There's a story behind this. I took my youngest two children out for the day to a place that we've been quite a lot of times through since lockdown when it opened back up. And in that place, in the building, there is a big bouncy castle, which the children have both always enjoyed going on, and we usually have 5 or 10 minutes on at some point during the day. And when we arrived, the eldest of the two children wanted to go straight on the bouncy castle, so I signed the waiver for them, and the youngest one was, I don't want to go on today. So I said, right, well, let's just sign the waiver and get the stamp on your hand so that you can go on as and when you would like to go on. They were determined they weren't going on. Well, that morning they hadn't eaten that much of their breakfast. They normally finished the lot, whereas they just hadn't eaten much. So I thought, oh, perhaps they're hungry. Thinking things. Perhaps they're hungry. Shall we go and have a snack? So we went and they had some food and they proceeded to go on a few rides and have a game of crazy golf and have fun, but they were adamant that they did not want to go on this bouncy castle. Now recently the bouncy castle had been changed and it was a bit more challenging. This hadn't deterred them in the past. They still went on the bouncy castle every time. We even took some special socks with grips that we'd got from a different venue for them to use to help them climb the new bouncy castle. So it hadn't put them off. They still had that drive and determination to get up there and do it anyway. They were just adamant they weren't going on. So towards the end of the day, I asked if they'd like to go on before we leave. The eldest happily went back on, and the youngest of the two went to do something else. They went to go on a ride on car. And as they were on, the fire alarm went off. The eldest came running over asking where the youngest was, so at least I knew his priorities were in the right place. So we gathered everybody up and went to wait outside to see what had happened. Now, previously, the building had had a power cut. A year ago, the building had a power cut, and with the power cut, the bouncy castle went down and both children were on the bouncy castle. Now, luckily, both of them, the staff were great, they went straight on. However, both the children just came straight off. There was no hanging about with them. They literally just came straight off. There was no, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, everything will be all right. We're off this thing. We're out of here. So then, when the fire alarm stopped and everything was checked out and we all went back into the building, the youngest of the two then turned around, took their shoes off and said, I knew there was going to be a fire alarm today, that's why I didn't want to go on the bouncy castle, and proceeded to jump straight onto the bouncy castle. And the eldest of the two then looked at me and went, he said he knew there was going to be a fire alarm today, how do you? And I said, don't say that to him. I get where you're coming from and what you're saying is valid. However, you're then potentially gaslighting his reality, because he actually knew something was wrong. He might have had that bit of anxiety from the past experience. However, it's not stopped him from continuing to go on it. He knew something was wrong, but he did not know what. And instead of going against his feelings and going on and the fire alarm going off and him panicking even more, he followed his instincts and just didn't go on. And then as soon as the event had happened, he happily went on. To which the eldest of the two did actually say, I don't think I've ever had that feeling. You might not have ever had that feeling. This is often we don't actually understand what that feeling is until after the event, when we're just like, I knew it, but I didn't know it because I was looking for evidence. I was looking for facts. I was looking for information. I was looking for knowledge. We try and find that conscious reasoning as to why something is, rather than just letting it be. You can have a time, narcissistic people have many different stares, and you can have a time when you first meet them where you feel like somebody is staring at you, is watching you. You don't know anybody's watching you. You don't know that for a fact. You just get that feeling, you get that uneasiness. And you can turn around and look and see that a narcissistic person, not that, the narcissistic, is staring at you. And it can feel uncomfortable, and you can rationalise it away with, they might be looking admiringly, they might be looking fondly, they might care about you, rather than trying to overthink things. Sometimes we do need to overthink things. However, when it makes us feel uncomfortable, we need to approach that person. Yet when you approach a narcissistic person, they justify it away. So we have to listen to our own instincts, because that's what happens. We get that hunch, we then try and look for evidence and conscious reasoning, and then we go and try and approach the person. And if they wanted us to know, we wouldn't have that hunch, we wouldn't have that instinct, as they would have informed us. The problem is, when it comes to instincts, yes, we do need to think. However, when it comes to our intuition, when it comes to those gut feelings, we can start thinking, and we can start rationalising things away within ourselves and within our own mind. Yet when it comes to being around narcissistic people, you can find, you just get that bad feeling. You can start to develop lots of stomach pain, stomach problems, because you're just unsettled around them. There's no illness there, there's no problem there. Your body is literally just unsettled around that person. You can start developing a lot of headaches and migraines because you're just unsettled around that person. You can start getting a tight chest because you're just unsettled around that person. You can just have a bad vibe. You can just think something that isn't a great idea without knowing why it's not a great idea. And more often than not, we do need to listen to those instincts, as those instincts are our in-tuned survival mechanism. Sometimes we don't always have to know the answer. It's very difficult, as we're kind of taught throughout school, that we need to find the answer to things. We need to know why. We need to know the answer. We need to be able to do this. And sometimes in life, yes, we most certainly do need to know why. We do need to find the answer. And other times in life, we just need to trust our gut instincts, because it knows what it's on about, even when we don't. And it might take time to find out. And afterwards, even though there's no sort of logical reasoning that can join the two assumptions together, such as a child not wanting to go on a bouncy castle because they knew the fire alarm was going to go off before it even went off. They might have not known that information to begin with. They just knew they didn't want to go on. And then after the event, that's when they joined the puzzle pieces together and recognised that that's why they didn't want to be on the bouncy castle. And people, you can also not want to do this or not want to speak out about this because you can feel ashamed, because people can gaslight you and turn around and say, oh, like, you know that, as if you knew that. And no, I might not have known it at the time. However, something was warning me. And now after the event, after it's happened, now I know, now I understand. Instincts are there to protect us. They are a natural survival mechanism. And sometimes in a society where we are taught to think how other people want us to think, and not necessarily always to think for ourselves, sometimes we do need to take the thought process out of a situation, listen to our instincts and let them guide us, and have a bit of patience to have the awareness that the answer will reveal itself in due course if we just follow our instincts. And if we go out against our instincts, the answer reveals itself in due course and usually causes more anxiety, more pain, more trauma than what we needed to go through, as our body was trying to protect us from that. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments. Or if anyone has a story to tell of when they did or did not listen to their instincts, please also drop those into the comments. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers, and your continued support with the channel is greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot get no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.